Yeah, I thought he made some really good decisions. There was a couple things that he could have been slightly more aggressive on, but those decisions came that like in the third quarter where, when you're up by the score we were, it's probably you have a tendency to lean a little bit towards being conservative, and so there was a couple things, but it wasn't bad at all. I thought he did a really good job for the first game. Yep. Yeah, it went good. This week he's going to play some center, and no, I'm just playing. We're going to move him around. That was the thing. Last year as we started moving him around later in the season. When you first put in an offense like we did when Coach Napier he started out. It's hard to move a guy around when he hasn't really learned the basics of the first part, and so we're in the second stage now, so that we can line him up kind of anywhere. And he kind of knows, the base concept, so it's not hard for him. So, yeah, you'll see us doing that more often. Yeah, him making me look really, really good. Like what? Like who? I was telling the guys after the game. It's 29 years. I've never seen anybody catch a hitch into the boundary and circle the field and score a 30-yard touchdown. Like, what is that? So he's just a special player. The first play, probably should have been tackled at the line of scrimmage, and he turned it into a whatever yard touchdown that was. That was pretty miraculous. And then also, though, if you look on those two plays, things to point out is we had a lot of other guys hustling to block for him. You notice our running back was 30 yards down the field blocking for him, and I don't know if he turns those things into touchdowns without all the other guys, but he sure does have a gift with the ball in his hand.
What about Eno and Isaiah? How was their game?
It was good. We wanted to Eno. He's one of those backs. I feel that he'll get stronger as the game goes on. And so we were trying to let him establish himself as our feature back. And then, we brought in Isaiah there, kind of when we tired him down a little bit. And, that worked out really well. Those guys are going to be a good 1-2 punch. Oh, they play really hard and they're tough, nasty. I grew up in the land of the Big Ten. I grew up a huge Ohio State fan back in the day, Woody Hayes and all that. And so Big Ten, it elicits a certain response with me. Toughness, big. They're going to be bigger than us. They're going to be very physical. They fly around to the ball, and they try to punish you when they get there. So they try to gang tackle and run and get a lot of people there, and they're flying, throwing their bodies into the pile, just trying to punish you and stuff like that. So that's what you can look forward to with those guys. Yeah, we watched. I watched the film, but I watched the game, live too. As we were at the restaurant. First game stuff. I think Utah State might have been playing with some tempo, first game is always tough on everybody, on both sides of the ball. But I just saw him, playing really hard, flying around, being physical. A lot of extracurricular activity at the end of plays, guys getting on both sides, slung on the ground, and just always going to the echo of the whistle, which you're supposed to do in football. So, but we watched those guys all day yesterday, and there's not a lot of holes, not a lot of weaknesses in that defense. I know that. Yeah, that's huge because you can do some different type of blocking schemes. If you remember back in the day when right at the end of Chip Kelly's era at Oregon, and they did a lot of center guard pulling, what they call the pin pull. outside zone, stuff like that. And you can't do that kind of stuff unless you have an athletic center. So the more athletic of a center you have, the more options you have to do in blocking schemes. So there's so many times as you're watching film, you'll look at a defensive front and go, oh man, if we just pull the center, oh, never mind, our center can't pull, you know, and then that kills that. But, you know, when you have a guy like Cole, man, it opens up more options for you.
Did he really play kind of embracing that starter role? Like, he didn't really look phased or any kind of
Oh, no, not at all, you know, and he's had that role all through camp, you know, so I expected that out of him, and what he has special vision between the tackles, and he can set up blocks, secondary. He sees secondary blocks, things happening that he's setting things up. He's already knowing he's going to make the first guy miss, but he sees where the second guy is going to be too. That's what makes him special. Right. Yeah, you know, we're always going to try to take advantage what the defensive structure says. And then, though, on the other hand, that's a good question, because I'm a deep believer of the human element of football as well. I mean, just because there's X's and O's and, oh, yeah, I'm going to down block this guy, pull this guy. Well, what if that guy right there whips that guy's butt, you know, and you don't have that down block? So those are things you just got to get in the game and see what happens. But, you know, as far as defensive structure, yeah, we're going to try to run into the holes of what we see as the defensive structure. Then we'll find out if it works or not when you get in the game. You know, just like I spoke to earlier, they're very physical. They don't do a lot, so they're not trying to fool you. And because they have very strong guys up front, they have 2 tackles that they're just going to boom, long arm right here, and then they're going to throw your guys one way or other and run to the tackle. And so what you think on paper, you got this like I was speaking to this gentleman over here, we may feel like we have this blocked. Well, it ain't going to be blocked for long, okay? And so they get off blocks well, and then they make up. You make up for mistakes on defense by flying everybody to the ball, all right? And that's what they do a really good job of.
Coach, what's the mindset your offense needs to have against such a tough physical defense?
Yeah, you got to match it. You know, I tell our guys all the time. You know, there's a great book by Mark Batterson that I read. Chase the Lion, and a lot of people in this world, they hear a roar of a lion, they turn and run. When you hear the roar of the lion, you got to turn and run after it, and that's how you face adversity, and that's how you face a team like this. You don't run from it, you hit it head on, meet it on, and let's go.